Well, welcome to our May podcast of Brainstorms. We are looking forward to May, most of us, because, it kind of means spring's going to be ending, summer's going to be coming. And for all of my life, of course, Memorial Day was the beginning of the summer. As a matter of fact, that was the only thing that Memorial Day was known for until I went to medical school. I started working in the ER. Then it was known for the worst time to be in the ER because Memorial Day, we have so many accidents. So everybody, please be careful. The weather's nice. You're getting on the motorcycle for the first time. Take it easy. Bicycle, first time, cars out there. But we're really blessed because now we know that there's a deeper meaning to Memorial Day, don't we? We know that we are going to be remembering all of those people, not just those who were killed in action and are buried for the Memorial Day ceremonies, the honorable ceremonies, but their families. And last year we talked about the Gold Star family. So, getting a Gold Star is not really something that we look forward to after we get out of grade school. So let's remember our Gold Star families. Let's remember those who have died for our right to be a nation, to have the freedoms that we do. And I always add, we've got to remember all of those 35,000 veterans that have died by suicide since the beginning of these wars, and you'll all be seeing my book will be coming out, our book, Resurrecting Lives Foundation, Guarding Our Guardians. These people volunteer their lives for our freedoms, and we need to give them a future when they come back. And by give that, I mean, right now we have all these resources that are there in the military and they're there in the VA. And the civilian world that has 99% of the resources actually volunteers them very little. So let's see what we can do. Let's be thinking about all of those things here when we're talking about Memorial Day. Coming here from the beautiful Sycamore Studios in Plain City, Ohio, through a generous grant of the Fred and June McMurray Foundation. We thank them always. And I'm really very excited about this particular podcast because we've gone out on the limb just a little bit because we're always told, in the biz, you don't have animals and children on the set, but we do. We have a four-legged hero, as we'll be introduced to at a later time. But right now, I'm going to introduce you to the two-legged hero. We'll be talking today with Josh Doran, who is, I've got to say, I am just amazed by him, and I don't want to embarrass him or get him nervous before this podcast. But with everything that he's done, I had to grab all of the different degrees that he has. On top of it, a JD, but I'll let him talk about those just a little bit. But exploring human nature, exploring how he can continue serving, and he is exactly still continuing to serve in the National Guard. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the gentleman who is now the president of what VCAS, the Veterans Companion Animal Services. And Josh Doran, thank you so much for coming to our studio today.
Yes, thank you for having me. Me and Lucy, I should say.
Okay, and Lucy is who you called to me the first time, your four-legged hero. Tell us a little bit about Lucy. We have a little camera on her there.
Oh, okay, awesome. So Lucy, she actually started out as my wife's dog.
Okay.
So, but over the years, she's kind of bonded a little bit more with me, and now through VCAS, her and I have been just about everywhere, from schools, corporate offices.
Oh, wow.
Went to a pharmaceutical office. I mean, anywhere I go, she pretty much goes, and just helps bring that joy and comfort to the people there and everything. So.
Oh, she really does. And you could tell she's very attached to you, because you left her sight for just a moment. She stared until you came back in her horizon, for sure, which is a wonderful feeling for both, kind of that interdependence that you have with your comrades when you're in battle. But I want to ask you first, tell us just a little bit about it. I understand you're in the Indiana National Guard, correct?
Yeah.
But you serve with different National Guards because you've served with some of us Ohioans too, have you not?
Oh, yeah. So I've been kind of around the state of Ohio, and I'll tell you why I ended up in Indiana. But I enlisted back in 2008 and initially was with a military police company out of Marysville.
Oh, okay.
While I was there, that's when I got picked up to go to Afghanistan with the 37th Infantry out of Ohio. Came back from that deployment then moved up to Grand Falls,
Okay.
Ohio for a little bit. And then that was about when I did my first year of law school, which was out in Baylor. So I transferred to a Texas unit for a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah, I was going to say, yes.
And then for some reasons outside of my control, I ended up moving back to Indiana to finish out law school, and that's why I'm in the Indiana unit now.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, well, that's pretty interesting too, because I do understand from law, which is another. You had mentioned when you first came in, you like the path of most resistance, you know, and I'm sitting there thinking that's pretty true because laws. I mean, law school, there's that basic law. I do understand that. But then every state is just a little bit different. So, bless you. So you got your law degree before you got your other degrees?
Well, while I was in the Ohio Guard and stuff, I was going to Ohio State. So that's where I got my undergraduate degrees, and then did the whole LSAT and prep for law school, and then went out to Baylor for law school, and then finished up in Indiana.
Oh, I got you. And your other degrees, if you could just explain them, only because of this. It's so often that people say, well, I'm just not sure what I'm going to do. And I have veterans who say that. I go, you know what? Everything you're trying is exactly what you're supposed to be doing because it brings you to a pathway. When I was in medical school, it was what do you want to be? A doctor. No, what do you want? I like it all. That's my problem. And you have to try. But you have some other specialties, too, that make you uniquely qualified for your job now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was going through undergrad, one of the biggest majors that kind of feed into law school is philosophy. So that's one of my bachelor's in philosophy. And then the other one is political science with a focus on international affairs. So I added that bachelor just because more so like interest. I just found it very interesting studying international politics, how everything just kind of fits together and sometimes not fit together, but how it just shapes our world and our society and everything. So I took that. I kind of get into the law school story, why I hopped schools and everything, and went to Baylor, and I loved Baylor. It was in Waco. It was a great city, great town. Food was amazing. And at that time, she had been my fiance then. She was Mariah, my wife. She was a construction in construction management. She was actually building a hospital here in Columbus when we met.
Oh, I see.
Her next job was supposed to be building the Baylor Hospital in Houston.
Okay.
So it made sense, like, okay, well, I'll go down, start law school, and then her hospital job here in Columbus would have wrapped up probably about the end of my first year, and then she would have moved down there, and we would have been, together and everything. The hospital in Texas didn't work out. So I don't know all the details. She doesn't really tell me too much on some of the projects, but basically, she got reassigned to their corporate offices in Indianapolis.
Oh, whoa, okay.
Yep. So after that first year at Baylor, we were looking at law schools, and my family's from Columbus, but she was going to be in Indianapolis, so we decided to finish up at Indiana University in Bloomington. I went to finish my last 2 years of law school there, and while I was there, I found out that IU has the #1 ranked Master's in Nonprofit Management. So through my undergrad, I developed a passion for service and nonprofit work. So I was like, well, I'm already going to law school. Why not throw a master's on top of it?
That's what impressed me so much, particularly, I founded this nonprofit not knowing anything. I said, where was he? Where was Josh?
Yeah, and I mean, it was pretty grueling just with the law course load and the master's course load, because I got it all done in 2 years.
Oh, that's...
And the suggested credit hour was like 12 credit hours a semester, and I was doing like 18.
Yeah, just again, a path of major resistance for sure. Yeah. Oh, bless you. But that's amazing that you were able to do all that. And I do have to say that says a lot about you too. Not just that you were able to accomplish that, but the fact that there were 2 universities that were willing to make that change for you. I mean, that says a lot about your integrity and your personality as well. And this was... were you still in the National Guard during that time?
Yeah. Yep. So still in the National Guard doing
your drills and
the annual training in the summer, going off to different schools to get certified in different things. So yeah, it's just I had no free time whatsoever.
I know.
Absolutely none.
And your fiance says, "Thank you for moving."
Yeah. Well, it was great because she was getting busier at her job too, so she didn't have a lot of time either. So we just kind of did our own things and then came together for meals and then went back to doing our own things.
Right.
But it was a season. As life, comes and goes in different seasons. So
Right.
I'm just happy that we're out of that season.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's the beginnings are tough. And again, you kind of chose things, both of you, choosing service-oriented. Healthcare, nonprofit. You're talking, that service gene. And we were talking about it on several of our podcasts, the fact that they've actually now located a genetic predisposition to service. And interestingly enough, and you'll never believe this, Josh, but what they're worried about is in the United States of America, it seems to be dying out. And they're like, oh, really? How much did you spend on that? Because we really have become, because of all of the things that we've had, and not just the United States, but a kind of a self-serving world,
Oh, yeah.
and going back to serving others is what humanity is really all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you could tell us just a little bit, we don't need to know so much about your service, although you were in Afghanistan, correct?
Yep.
In 2011.
Yes.
And that was a very unsteady, unstable time. Not that there's a steady time, as we can see from recent headlines of what's been going on, but it was are we drawn out? Are we drawing just the troops out, but is the fighting decreasing? So it was a very dangerous time for you all, was it not?
Yeah, and it was a real interesting time. So we were deployed to Helmand province, which is kind of like the southwestern corner, I guess.
Okay.
And we would just do a lot of kind of VIP escort. So people would, generals or contractors would come in and we would load up in the trucks and we'd go on convoys and lead them to different construction sites or critical infrastructure kind of stuff. But I do remember, like you're saying, the drawdown. One day we were in the chow hall and they have like your TVs up there, and they were showing the troops withdrawing from Iraq. So it's kind of a weird time that we're in Afghanistan, still running missions and everything. We're seeing the Iraq troops kind of, the main force pulling out. And like, what does that leave like for us? Are they going to downsize here in Afghanistan? Like, are we going to be here the whole time? So it kind of left things, just uncertain.
Yeah, there was a lot of uncertainty. I know that, I founded our foundation in honor of 3 young men now. We had to add our Marine, Jody David's son, Wesley, who was in Lima Company, right at the beginning. And a friend of mine in Iraq and a friend of mine, son died in Afghanistan. And he perished, Brian Pierce, he perished in July 2010. And it was so uncertain for them then because that's when they had, Brian was supposed to have been home 2 months earlier, and then there weren't people coming in. So I just know that it's a terrible thing if you are waiting for a bus, seriously, and you're not sure whether it's coming or not. And it may be 15 minutes late, it may be an hour late, it may be a day late. But if you are in a life-death situation all the time and you're not sure when your relief is coming, I can't even imagine the pressure that has on you. And you guys were really in that don't ask, don't tell. I really wanted to write a book that says, don't ask, don't tell. It's not just about the sex. There's a lot that you don't get to ask or tell. But I know that had to have been a very kind of unsteady time. So you were explaining to me that you really depend on those that you're there with, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And so I was in a unique situation because I deployed with the Ohio Infantry.
Okay.
But I was from a military police unit. So basically, my organic unit, I think there was one other guy. There was 2 of us that deployed on this mission with this company.
Okay.
So when we were doing our mobilization and train up, it was the first time I ever met any of these guys. But through the training and everything, we did get extremely close. And then just once we got overseas, in country and everything, these are guys that you're working with every day, getting food with every day, going to the gym with every day. So you absolutely build that bond. And back then the technology wasn't that great with communicating back home. Yeah, it was a little limited.
Particularly in Afghanistan, it seemed, because you've got those huge mountains and the terrain itself is not lending itself to.
Right. Yeah. So I wasn't able to call back home as much as I would have really liked to, or was able to, and everything. So yeah, I mean, you're just leaning on those guys that are to the right and left of you to just get through the day and continue on tomorrow and everything.
And they're doing the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I think it's a very much of a give and take that I've learned. I mean, I didn't know that kind of bond before. You know, certainly you don't have that kind of bond with your siblings. Anybody? Twins, maybe I have nieces that are twins. They seem to have, but the rest of, it's that on again, off again, kind of thing. But this is day to day because truly lives depend on it, for sure.
Definitely build on trust. You trust that guy or gal with your life. So that just creates a deeper relationship and bond.
And it's not something that you do day to day.
No.
This is not, you don't go into a restaurant. And I mean, I really like the people, but you don't with them, Even with my colleagues in medicine, you're in the lunchroom with them, or you may be in the, and you can be working really close on one particular patient or one, and you have a close bond for a finite period of time. Mm-hmm. But it's not your life you're fighting for, right. It's somebody else's. So it's not that same pressure and it's not that same give and take. So particularly from what I've heard, when you're in the guard, you come home and everybody disperses, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're lucky, I guess, your organic unit will just deploy as a whole unit.
Okay.
So you're with the guys that are, with you at home, and then you come back and you're still in the same unit. But again, for me, coming back, I was, taken out of that infantry unit that I deployed with and placed back into the MP unit that I came from. So
oh, wow.
It's kind of, you spent that close to a year time frame with these people every day, and you have these deep bonds and deep relationships with them, and then come back and the people that are in your unit now, didn't go through. They went through their own stories. A lot of them deployed on other deployments or other places.
But it's not the same at all.
Right. It's not that common shared experience that you had with the people you actually deployed with.
Yeah. At what point in time did you begin saying, I felt more comfortable there in some regards as to what I was supposed to do every day, and kind of in that routine. You come back here and it's kind of freelancing. And what I hear from my vets, and I feel like the same way, we've got a lot of people that don't necessarily do what they say they're going to do at every minute. How was that coming back?
Yeah, I think it was almost instant, like after we came home, flew home, and we were there at the airport, and people's families were coming and gathering. Great moments of families reuniting.
Yes.
But when the cars pull off and everybody goes their own way, I was kind of like shutting the lights off at the end of a party, And I almost felt like you were saying, the loss of sense of purpose and everything almost instantly. When I came back, I deployed about halfway through my undergrad. So
really? Wow. You really do a lot of things difficultly. Okay, go ahead.
So I came back, and I was scheduled to start school in January. Came back in September. So there was a big chunk of time where I wasn't doing very good. I didn't have that purpose. I had school on the horizon, but my day-to-day was just, what do I do with myself? And you also come back from a war zone. Obviously, you're living in a hypervigilant state where a piece of trash on the road could be an IED, or somebody who's walking suspiciously could be a suicide bomber. And that was your constant day-to-day. And you come home and you see that stuff. There's no real danger there, but your brain doesn't let you see that. It's like, oh, that's a target indicator, get the adrenaline going and, start surveilling the area, doing your, 5s, 25s, 300s and everything. So that was kind of like what I was going through coming home with that. And then with, everybody I deployed with, being with other units, like you'd call them up, but it's not the same as like having them there and everything.
One of the disservices that I think we as civilians do, and let me tell you, I'm guilty of all this stuff. I mean, when I came on board, my friends lost their sons. I wanted to do something. I called up the VA thinking that the VA in Columbus would tell me, come down and we're going to put baskets together. Seriously. Okay, I'll buy the stuff for the baskets. I'll be happy to do that. Oh, no. The director said, Dr. Gordon, I just finished a novena today. You're the answer to my prayers. And I'm there like, okay. So I'm Catholic. I knew what he meant by novena. That's like 9 days of saying the rosary. Like that's like a major. And I'm thinking, this isn't going to sit well for me. What is it that you would like me to do? And he said, we need physicians to do the traumatic brain injury screening. Now, this was 2008, 2009. And I said, okay, well, I do the brain stuff. I had my own brain injury. That's where I learned about brain injuries and how to come out of them. And, you always learn a whole lot more when it's you, than what the textbook says. So I said, yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I said, well, when can you start? And I said, well, okay, first of all, I have a practice. I'm not going to give that up and come working at the VA full time, but I'll volunteer sometime. And that's the first complaint that you're noticing here. These poor young men, I only had 100 men, and they were all men. Okay, most of them from National Guards, some from Fort Bragg. I will tell you that Fort Bragg has a kind of a drawing here, and Fort Campbell. Those were the only two military bases that I ever had seen somebody here in Ohio from. But it is that, now what do I do? Like, what is it? What do I do? And they were also worried about being hypervigilant. And I said, that's survival. You have no time to turn that off. There's no deprogramming. There's just a lot of programming. How do you deprogram yourself from that? Does it ever go away? Because I don't know that it ever kind of goes away.
Well, so what really helped me get out of that, because I was just stuck in my own head. And whenever you're stuck in your own head and you just start spiraling and you end up nowhere good. And it's not productive and it's not helpful. So after I did start back at Ohio State, I got an email from their Office of Student Veterans saying that they're going to start this new program called the Veteran Community Advocates.
Okay.
And basically the premise was they would put student veterans in different offices across campus to kind of advocate for veterans in those offices.
Oh, that's very wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. And that program has grown. I think it was started at Ohio State and has grown.
I think Colonel Mike Carroll kind of started that.
Yeah,
U.S. Air Force, yes. So, Colonel Carroll, yes, he's the.
So he was my mentor.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's amazing. Right.
He is, and I credit him with kind of shaping my career path because I applied for advocate and I was selected and placed in recreational sports.
Oh wow.
So. In that, we were researching adaptive equipment so that if, an amputee was a student veteran and they wanted to work out, they had the proper equipment to have as much of a full life as they could. And then we planned different outdoor adventure kind of things. But what that did was, I got through the war a little lucky. I was extremely lucky and extremely blessed to get out the way I did, but
lucky is not going like me. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't say
for the people who did go.
I'm telling you, there's
But a lot of veterans aren't that lucky. They do come back with physical wounds and physical limitations.
And invisible physical wounds.
Invisible, yeah. And those are even harder.
Yeah.
But I was able to help them and have that heart of service again and that sense of purpose, outside of myself.
Yes.
So that really helped me get out of my own head and stop worrying about me so much, but start worrying about these other veterans and helping my fellow veterans with, in that situation, it was adaptive equipment.
Yes.
But that kind of philosophy and heart of service is what prompted me to go on and then get like the master's in nonprofit management and then basically kind of push me into the job that I have now with VCAS. And
that's pretty amazing because again, when you look at all your steps, they kind of line up fast. Mine in ER, what did ER tell me? Well, let me tell you, I've been involved in more than a couple crisis calls. And, I didn't really do that there in the ER so much, but I saw people who did. Do you know what I mean? And I have an unlisted phone number, Josh. How people get my phone number to call me, and that just amazes me. And I've been keeping track. I have my little map, the little push it, 29 states. If 29 states have young veterans in them calling a total unknown old lady from Ohio. Where is our system? We need to do more. I mean, that ought to be enough to tell you we need to do more. So at what point in time did you say, let me look for something else even, I mean, give us just that little bit down the road here,
What do you mean by something else?
I mean, so when did you and Lucy meet, or when did you so you're talking now about, I'm so sorry about being so vague. See, that's I always blame those things on my brain injury.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
What am I thinking, Josh?
Yeah.
Now you have adaptive equipment, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people who have the physical disabilities, I know, have the service dogs that we'll be talking about. Because you were the person who told me the difference between all these. Because I'm in rehab. Isn't this sad? I'm in rehab, and I didn't know each of those definitions that we'll go over pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's really important to know. At what point in time did that seem like a good idea, or how did that particular piece come into your world?
So just like with animals in general, I grew up on a farm. So
Oh, really?
yeah, my dad, he started out with Black Angus cattle.
Okay.
And then by the time I came around in the late 80s, early 90s, he was kind of transitioning to llamas. And then
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
into alpacas.
Oh, wow.
So, as a kid, I would, work with the animals, and we would show them all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
County fair, state fair, different llama shows. So, it developed that kind of bond and love for animals, and the training and the fulfillment of it, working with them. But when I got back from Afghanistan, before school started, before I did the community advocate thing, I decided to get a dog. So it wasn't Lucy, it's Scrappy.
Scrappy.
So I called him Scrappy because he's pretty scrappy. She recognized his name.
She's jealous.
Yeah,
she's
like,
jealous.
no, I'm here. But so Scrappy, he was little mixed breed.
Oh, hello. And she's come over to,
yeah.
she goes, he's bringing up somebody else. I'm going to come over to you, find a friend. Hello there.
She's a pretty jealous dog. I'll give her that.
I mean, she goes, look who I'm with now.
Right, yeah.
You're over there. We're over here.
Right, exactly.
So human.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
human.
Exactly.
Okay, you stay with me then. Okay.
But yeah,
You're out of the picture now, huh?
I decided to get a dog named Scrappy, and he really helped that initial period back home.
What kind of dog was he? I'm just wondering, did you get a big dog, a little dog?
No, he was a little 16-pound mutt.
Okay.
Had a face only his mother could love, kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he was awesome. He just helped give me more structure to my day. He gave me a reason to wake up in the morning because this little dog.
He needs you.
He needs to be fed. He needs to be walked. He needs to be let out and everything. And I would go out about my day and do whatever, and then come back, and he would always be just super happy to see me. And at night when I was starting to get stuck in my own head and spiraling, he would come up on the bed and cuddle with me, and he'd help me take my mind off of my own mind, so to speak. So he
dogs are amazing.
they are.
You're
a gift
amazing,
from,
Lucy.
A gift
You're
from
amazing
God, for sure. Yeah. But so he helped get me through that initial phase. I mean, he still does. He's still around. He's like 13 years old.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, and he's just an old grumpy man now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
is he with you? Does Lucy? I mean, Lucy and he share?
Oh yeah. So
no wonder you're jealous, sweetheart. I see.
It's just Scrappy isn't very
sibling rivalry here.
Yeah. Scrappy is not a very social dog. He likes.
Okay.
He's the grumpy old man. He likes to stay at home. But he's been with me through everything from getting back to Afghanistan. Once I moved back down to campus. Once he went out to Texas with me. He was with me in Texas. With me when moved back to Indiana and back home and everything. So he's been there with me through just about everything. Yeah.
It is always amazing to me. Like, I've always had dogs. The last dog I had, it was very hard when she died, Schnauzer. I always had those. My colleagues used to say, you get dogs that are just as yippy as you are. They just got around. But once I started, it was right before like this mission came up. And once I started moving around, I go, I can't leave, I can't leave an animal that long. But they seem to know. I mean, they really do have this intuitive understanding of your mood, happy, sad, depressed. I mean, it just is really very interesting. I really like it. So from there, you said, well, this makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what really drew me to VCAS, because basically my story with Scrappy is their main mission and everything. And it's the mission is just to place rescue dogs. We only work exclusively with rescue dogs, with veterans, and create that mutual healing relationship, that bond between the animal and the veteran, so that, all the benefits I experience with, a better sense of purpose, structure, companionship, unconditional love, all those things these dogs can provide. And not only are we helping the veteran, but since we do work with rescue dogs, these are dogs who are in shelters that finally get a supportive and loving home too. So
see, and I got to tell you, when you told me that when we had the initial interview, like that really hit me. I said, I love your organization, and quite frankly, like I had to look you up because I found out that May is like National Pet Month. I mean, and it's also the month of the military child, which I thought makes sense too, since we know that so many of our military youth have issues too when one parent goes off or two parents are off or whatever. So I really find that amazing that you have like win, 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 like. And everything that you did the hard way, you've made it an easy way for the people you're working with. I just find that amazing about you. So when you talk about, are there certain rescue organizations that you partner with, or how do you find out, like, oh, we got 2 or 3 rescues over here? How does this all work in your system?
Yeah, so we do work with 3 rescues up here in Central Ohio. So we work with Delaware Humane, GG's Animal Shelter, and then Rescued Ohio.
Okay.
So those are our 3 main shelter partners. But it all works, and we spend a ton of time just vetting the dog and learning about the veteran, because it really is a dual mission. We want it to be good for the veteran and good for the dog, and it's really like matching up 2 puzzle pieces, and they have to fit as tight as possible. So it's a good fit.
That's a very good analogy. Yeah.
But so a veteran starts off the process by filling out an application, and that really talks or discusses like the veteran's lifestyle, home environment, age. How active is the veteran? Do they have other pets or children in the home? Is it an apartment or a house? Just that kind of stuff. So we kind of know the veteran's environment and lifestyle. And then we'll have the veteran fill out a meet your match survey. And we try not to guarantee a specific breed unless the veteran is really dead set on a breed.
Oh, yeah, some of them, I know that's true.
We honor that. We just tell them that might extend the process and the timeline. But the meet your match really focuses on size, temperament, and behavior as things. And we try to match up that veteran's lifestyle with those characteristics and qualities of the dog.
This is brilliant science and humanity. I mean, you've got compassion and science. Who knew we could do that in our world today, right? Very good.
Yeah. So basically, then we'll take that meet your match survey to our shelter partners, and we'll start vetting dogs. Then once we find one that we think will be a good match, we actually place that dog with a foster home.
Okay.
And this is where like the evaluation of the dog kind of kicks into high gear, because we try to actually match the foster's home with the veteran's home.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah. So if that veteran has
you're amazing.
Kids or cats.
Yeah.
We even had one veteran that had chickens. So we try to find a foster home that had chickens.
Oh my goodness.
But it's all about that behavior assessment and exposing that dog to things that they may be exposed to in the veteran's home, because we want to limit as many surprises as possible. Like the last thing we want to do is place a dog, find out the veteran has the chickens, and then
exactly, that would be
incompatible with chickens. So we foster them for about 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then we have a meet and greet where the veteran can come, bring other pets or family members, and just spend some one-on-one time with the dog. And then if the veteran gives us the green light, that's when we'll move to the placement day, which we give the veteran about probably 24 to 48 hours to really sleep on it, consider it. We don't want them to make an impulsive decision or a decision right there at the meet and greet. But a couple days later, we'll call them up if they want to move forward. That's when we do the placement day.
Okay.
And that's when we will bring a initial set of supplies. So everything to really get them started, thinking like crates, bowls, toys, initial food, treats, and then I get them all set up, let them get settled in, and then we cover all the food and supplies and all the medical care and veterinary care for the first year.
For the first year?
Yeah, for the first year. So we really want to try to make it a easy transition and really
that's amazing. I don't know of any other program. I mean, I didn't know of a whole lot of these programs, but I'd talked to a couple along the way, just from vets that had that's amazing. And you have people who will, people can donate money, services, crates to you, whatever. We'll get to that at the end, and it'll be on our website as well, because I find this to be one of the most fascinating. I find you to be one of the most fascinating folks, and your wife and Lucy and all. I mean, this is just an amazing, because it's very rare that I run into organizations where everybody wins. That's just amazing. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this is just fascinating to me. It really is. You have a team of fosters too? Like, do you need fosters as time goes by? Because that's a hard job.
It is. And the good thing about our foster program is that it's not indefinite. So our fosters know that once we place a dog with them in foster, it's about 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's very good, right?
Yeah, but it depends on people's schedules. They're going on vacation, that kind of thing. And the other thing is having a broad base of fosters to have those unique things, like the chickens or cats or gerbils, whatever it is. If we have a veteran that something like that comes up, we want to have a foster home that could,
That is amazing, right?
But so in last year, our foster network took a pretty big hit with us using them so much. So just to kind of give a comparison, I think in 2024 we placed 13 dogs.
Okay.
And then in 25 we placed 27. So more than double.
Oh, that's a huge. That's a very steep climb. Yes.
Yeah. So and we are absolutely blessed for having the fosters that we do, because they go above and beyond for our program. We just placed a dog about a month ago, but we actually had the veteran and the dog meet back in October. And
oh, wow. Okay.
So the dog, after the meet and greet, the veteran said, yes, I want to move forward. Came to find out the dog needed a double hip replacement. Which required surgery, recovery, physical therapy. And we told the veterans, like, hey, we totally understand if you want us to look for a different dog. He's like, no, this is my dog. And what's kind of funny is the veteran also had I think it was a knee replacement. So he went through a replacement surgery too. And so he is like, we're living the same story. So
that's so amazing, right? Yeah.
But so the dog had surgery, and then after the surgery, ended up getting a really bad infection. Like a puppy version of MRSA, dropped a lot of weight. Like it was not looking good. But Gigi's, one of our shelter partners, did an amazing job just like nursing her back to health. And the foster was absolutely amazing. Like she worked with the dog, making sure that, it was doing its physical therapy and everything. And we ended up placing it about a month ago, and the dog's pretty much fully recovered. There's still a little bit of recovery with the surgery and everything.
Right.
But it was a special one, because, that veteran, that was his dog the moment he met her. And he wasn't going to give up on her. He was there through the battle and through the good times and the bad times, and it was a special one.
I've always heard when I've talked to veterans that the dog chose me.
Oh, absolutely.
And my dogs, when I've had dogs, the same thing. You go in and you see. I mean, because again, I was a Schnauzer person. You see 4 or 5, and then there'd be this little runt over there that would just crawl and sit in your lap. Like, okay,
I choose you.
The others don't want me.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So these are companion dogs. So could you give us, our audience, the definition of companion dog?
Yep. So companion dog is basically a dog their goal is to provide you with unconditional love, structure, purpose, all the things that are great for veterans.
Okay.
And then there's a few different I guess you could say, categories, classifications
Okay.
of dogs. So probably the one that everybody thinks of and the one that requires like the most training is your service dog.
Okay.
So service dogs, they are trained for a very specific medical purpose.
Okay.
So, and their owner or the person that they're placed with has to have a medical diagnosis to receive that dog.
Okay.
And they're great at what they do. It's amazing what service dogs can do, but they're generally pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard the wait list, like the timeline to get a service dog can be upwards of like 2 years.
That's what I've heard too, right? Yeah.
So it's they're great, but they're not the right fit for everybody.
And they're
So-
the dogs that you were talking about that have the vest and the
Yeah.
and so they really kind of stand out, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if people see that,
Mhm.
Josh, that's not the dog you go try
No,
petting and all
no,
that. So if you,
no.
we'll just get that straight. You see a service dog with a person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the owner, the bonder, can invite you in, but don't
Right.
go in,
Yeah.
right?
So so when you see a dog with like a service dog vest on, consider that like somebody in uniform. They're on the job, they're working, and you don't want to distract them from their job. So that when they're out in public and everything, and you see that, it's probably best just to let the dog work, do its job and everything. But to kind of compare that with VCAS in our program, so when we were setting it up, or when it was set up, they found that a lot of veterans are still suffering with, PTSD and
Yes.
depression, anxiety, but they never went and got the medical diagnosis. Whether
Well,
through-
let me tell you, that's why we were founded, and it's hard to get that medical diagnosis.
well,
That's one of the things we're bringing up. I mean, a traumatic brain injury is so non-apparent,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys and gals, I mean, when I use guys, I mean, I've never seen people like our veterans who hide things from people, not even because of yourself, but I've had, they hide them from me. Doc, I don't want to bother them. They're like,
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the military culture.
I
coming back in,
know.
Because, but from day one of boot camp, you're told, place the mission first. Place the mission first. Place the mission first. And we do. But when we place the mission first, we put a lot of our personal concerns or cares, like what's affecting us, to the side, because mission first.
right.
But we carry that with us back home. So, yeah, getting the medical diagnosis is difficult.
Right, it really is so.
And
Okay.
they don't want to ask for help because help was not welcomed while in service, and some of them just don't want the stigma of being labeled with something.
I know.
But these veterans who are still suffering through these things have no access to a service dog
Yeah.
because they don't have the diagnosis.
Exactly.
So with VCAS, another thing we try to cut the red tape on is that medical diagnosis. So
Very
any
good.
veteran who comes to us, we don't ask them about any kind of medical background. The only thing we ask the veteran to provide is a DD-214. And
Okay.
that's just proof of military service.
Right.
And that's your ticket in. So if you can give us that, awesome, you qualify.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. And then there's what I've heard of therapy animals.
Oh,
which
yes.
is so.
They're my favorite.
and they're very different. So if you could explain
Yeah.
just a little bit about that too, because when we were talking the first time and you started bringing this up, I thought, I've never really delved into that. So I
Right.
did just a little bit of reading, but I learn better when I hear. So
Yeah. So with if you could think of like a service dog is there for the handler to do the job to help that person with their medical task. So very much there for the individual. Now therapy dogs are different. They are there for the crowd or the group or whoever you're visiting.
Yeah.
So with a service dog, it's no touching, let them work. Therapy dog, touch, love. Like that dog is there to love on people, make them feel good, bring joy and happiness. And there are therapy dog training, but it really comes down to that dog's natural temperament.
that's your
and everything. So,
personality. Yeah.
So you can work on exposing that dog to different things that they may come in contact in the public with, and just being comfortable in different situations, loud noises and stuff. But it really helps if you just have a dog that just has that natural temperament.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, that's like Lucy. Like when we go and visit schools, the kids come up and love on her, and she loves on them. I have to give the warning that Lucy is a kisser, so she might try to lick you. But Lucy just has that personality
Oh,
of a
I mean,
therapy
she's
dog.
been laying on my, my foot here this whole
Yeah.
time. I mean, just so lovable, that's for
Mhm.
sure. I really am fascinated by your story, by how far you've come in what I consider a very short amount of time. I can't imagine getting a law degree and another degree on top of it after just coming out of a war zone not that long ago. I mean, these are accomplishments that I'm trying to, again, kind of promoting the idea of the book that our veterans should be guaranteed health care, education, and employment. They should be.
Mhm.
They're 1% of our population, and 99% of us are living off of what they're willing to do. So I think that there's a lot that we could do as civilians with your organization. Okay. So I'll let you name some of it, but already we've got fosters, we've got volunteers, we've got people who could donate, I'm sure like gift cards to Chewy or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
things that kind of help you. So whatever your wish list is, we want you to share it with us. We will share it with our website. We will share, parts of this particular podcast can be shared with your social media as well, because I find this to be one of the most natural healing endeavors, and you didn't come by it easily. You really studied to get here, both through life experiences and through this, which is what makes things so successful, because you're like the president and CEO of the Veterans Companion Animal Services, right? Right. And where are you all located?
So we have a Central Ohio office here in Delaware. So it's up on the Ohio Wesleyan campus. And then we did launch a Cincinnati office back in July.
Okay.
So we don't have a physical office space for them yet. That's something we're working on.
Right, okay.
But they've already placed, I think, 2. I think they have 1 more that's in the process to get placed too.
Yes.
Which is absolutely amazing. So just when VCAS was founded, the incorporation was founded in 2013.
Okay.
And we didn't make our first placement until 2018. So there's a huge time gap there. And they've been able to do that.
There's a lot of infrastructure.
There is, yeah.
To your highway.
So what took VCAS HQ, you could say, that long, they've done in like 6 months and everything. So we're super proud of them as they continue to grow and everything down there. So
Well, we need to do something in Northern Ohio.
We're working on it.
If there's any way we can help up there, because I'm from that northeast sector, the Youngstown, Ohio, and Y-Town is my town. As a matter of fact, I always said I'm going to tell just one brief story, then we can wrap up. But to your point, to anybody who's listening who is either a veteran who feels hypervigilant or a family member who's worried about them being hypervigilant, I told the story of the third patient that I saw out of my 100 at the VA. And because I'm reading these questions, I don't know if you went through traumatic brain injury screening or not, but I'm reading these questions, and to a community physician, they are skewed so that the patient feels abnormal. So that it was things like, since you came back from war, has anybody said that you're acting differently? And I'm there like, so it got to the point by the time that I had gone through it the third time, I would apologize. And I said, I'm really sorry. As a physician in the community, I would not be asking these things this way. But the one was, do loud noises bother you? And, this one gentleman with his reflector sunglasses, obviously showing me he had photophobia. It was indoor photophobia. He had like 8 blast injuries. There's no doubt this young man had a traumatic brain injury. And he says, yes. So that means I says, no, that means you're a really good survivor. I mean, your brain is telling you what you need to do to survive. And then I told him that I'm from Northeast Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, born and raised. It was called Murder Town, USA when I was growing up because it had more mafia hits in Youngstown than any other city in the United States. Okay. And the primary way, it was actually called the Youngstown Tuna, was a car bomb. Okay. So this is growing up. But in Youngstown, Ohio, that was just no. So I was working at the mall between high school and college, and it's the end of the day, and there's about 20 of us who locked up, and we're all walking out to the playground. First guy in the car turns it, the car backfires, and every one of us hits the deck. Every one of us hits the asphalt, because in Youngstown, that was just as likely to be a bomb about, getting ready to explode. Then he turns it over, and we all get up. We didn't even say anything to each other. When I told him that story, he grabbed my wrist so hard, took off the reflector sunglasses, and said, "So, Doc, I'm not crazy."
No kidding.
And I thought, what are we doing
Right.
to make somebody who did something that I would, not have the courage to do in million lifetimes, make them come back and think that they're crazy. So what I believe is what you're doing, what we're doing with this podcast. No, you were trained this way. You survived. And there will be some things, but something as simple as, and it's not simple on your end and all the moving parts, but, this world was created so that we would have four-legged companions. Dogs have been with man a long, and to have them be that healing. And like you say, particularly when you've got a rescue dog, it is that win-win that, one helps the other. So
Absolutely.
what else would you like to say about your organization, about what people could do to help? The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I would say we do offer a few other programs besides the placement. So we do free dog training, and that's open to any veteran. So they don't need to get a dog from us.
Okay.
One of the things that we talked about once you come home is that camaraderie and not having that community with other service members.
Right.
So we have an alumni group where we put on different events for alumni. They can bring their families with them.
Oh,
just
that's
to have
wonderful.
That community
Yes.
and connection with one another. And then we do have therapy dog certification.
Okay.
And that's really designed to help empower the veterans. So that initial placement's very inwardly focused. The
Okay.
veteran is
Right.
getting that unconditional love and healing and helping that dog get a safe and stable home. But then that therapy dog program empowers the veteran to take their dog into the public realm, share their dog with other people, have more social interactions, and just kind of have that impact.
That's a huge
on
step
others.
up. Yeah.
Yes, and the same thing with when I came home. What really helped me was getting out of my own head and stop thinking about myself. So this kind of also helps veterans to think of others and serve others in a new way and share their dog with them.
And I just have to say, thinking about yourself, I don't think that veterans do that. I mean, I think what you're doing is thinking about yourself. What can I do now? I mean, when I had my brain injury, like, what can I do now? Like my whole life, I've been a doctor. I've been telling people what to do. One of my vets said, "Doc, you found the perfect nonprofit for you because you love telling people what to do, and we take orders well." That's really true. But that's what you're thinking of. You're thinking of, how can I do this? How can I go back and be as productive as I felt then? And I think that that's a really good thing to think of. Can we get Lucy on? Will Lucy come back to you, or is she my dog now? I'm wondering. Lucy, I'm not sure where our fabulous technician Ethan had the camera set up, but we've got to get just a little look. I mean, so loving, so giving, and literally when you said Scrappy, she was right here.
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, that's enough of that,"
Yep. Just going to teach me something,
Yeah, I know. Isn't that true? Yeah. And I find that just so amazing. And you're so gentle with her. Even when we were on the Zoom and you had to park on the side of the road, you were in your car, and she just sat there so quiet. But she was looking at me. She's looking, and you'd say a couple things, and she'd look at you like, "Really? Really?" Mm-hmm. I mean, that is wonderful. Well, we will have everything, on our website that you want us to. So you can send it to us. This will be for this, wonderful May Memorial Day. Again, people, one thing you can do, people who look and say, "Oh my God, I like to support veterans. Let's do this. Let's do this on Memorial Day this year. Let's do something for the Veterans Companion Animal Services. Something as simple as a Chewy, gift certificate. Maybe some of you wouldn't mind, fostering a dog. It may be good for you, good for your family, good for the veteran for sure. So let's get to know this wonderful nonprofit that's, making a difference every single day in so many lives. Four-legged, two-legged, families, the whole thing. Yep, so we'd like to do that. What else would you like to tell them?
So people kind of understand the impact that dogs have, particularly on veterans, but anybody with a dog, for me, therapy helped and medication helped, but Scrappy, the dog, was the only thing there that was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Constant.
It was there in the middle of the night when you wake up in a sweat, there to comfort you, and always happy to see you. The joy and unconditional love that these dogs give, just it's amazing, and the impact it can have on, like you said, veterans, their families, anybody really with a dog. Hopefully understands the impact that they can have, and they're just amazing. I thank God that He's placed them here for us.
Oh,
and
exactly. The other thing too, both ways, is dogs are very intuitive.
Oh, absolutely.
And whereas people may look at a veteran and wonder what's going on, the dog has no trouble whatsoever. Mm-hmm. The dog sees the heart. The dog feels the courage. The dog has, that's what, so we have something to learn from them too. So again, our mission this year is, civilian world, let's get involved. And this is such a very simple place. And anybody who has a dog, I know that you could see the benefit of this just right away. I feel better already just because Lucy came over here, made me miss my Machen even more. But, I remember those days. So it's really wonderful. So this Memorial Day, let's make this what we're going to do. Anybody who's listening to this, do one thing for a veteran in honor of all of our fallen veterans, in honor of all of our Gold Star families. Let's do something for someone who is here right now so that they can share that service with others. And Josh, I can't thank you enough for taking our cold call and saying, would you mind coming down this day? And by the way, would you mind bringing Lucy? And we really do appreciate that. Yeah. We look forward to working with you in the future, and so does our audience. And everybody, please be safe on Memorial Day. Remember everyone who got us here. And we'll see you again in June.
If you are thinking about harming yourself or attempting suicide, tell someone who can help right away. Call 911 for emergency services. Go to the nearest hospital emergency room. Call or text 988 to connect with the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. This podcast is made possible thanks to a grant from the Fred and June McMurray Foundation, and it's produced by the Resurrecting Lives Foundation at the Sycamore Studio. Music is written, performed, and graciously provided by Tim Beckley. Remember, when you work toward brain injury recovery, it is best to journey with a friend and keep your gait steady and your spirit strong. Finally, always seek shelter from your storm.
Baghdad, the Basra, the Boston, the Bakersfield, the hottest battle I ever fought is raging inside of me. My brain has been battered, scrambled and rattled, and no one knows what's going on with me.